super excited to show you guys the Ursa brand new Blackmagic Ursa broadcast camera G2. It's labeled as the world's most flexible broadcast camera. So this video will be just a lot of information and me rigging it out as a cinema camera, but I'm super excited to try it out. Stay tuned for the next video where we actually go and shoot with it. I am super excited to show you the brand new Ursa Broadcast G2. This thing is just in. If you've been following along with Blackmagic and what they've been putting out, you are familiar with the specs on this. But I'll go ahead and tell you a few of them that make me really excited. A 4K production camera, a 4K broadcast camera, and a 6K digital film camera. Of course, you have built-in nice monitor, all of your standard broadcast settings, 12G SDI, which is lightning fast for broadcast. You know, it's pretty much, if you take a look at it, and if you're familiar with the Ursa Mini Pro G2, it's nearly identical in almost every way. A few minor differences, but really impressed with this camera so far. So today I'm going to be building out this as a cinema camera. The specs on this, next to the Ursa Mini Pro G2, and then the price point, you know, this is $2,000 less, and yet you still get a 6K digital film sensor. We're going to do a side-by-side footage comparison with my Pocket 6K and eventually the Ursa Mini Pro G2. See how they stack up, see how this thing actually does as a film camera. But today we're just going to take a look at the rig and the menu settings. So when you pull it out of the box, you're going to notice several mounting points on the top and bottom, a V-mount plate on the back, a rosette handle spot on the side here, and that's basically it. I mean, of course, all your dials, all your front controls here are lockable, so you don't bump them during production. It's a very nice compact body, just like the Ursa Mini Pro G2, but it actually comes with the V-mount plate already. You don't have to buy that separately. Also comes with a shoulder mount plate, as well as a top handle, and all the mounting hardware that you need for those things, as well as a few other things so that you can mount a tripod plate to the V-mount, or to the shoulder plate. Now, I've used the Ursa Mini Pro G2 with this shoulder rig, and I'm not actually very happy with the design of this in relation to the body. I wish they'd made a few changes. This needs to be a little bit longer so that it sits nicely on your shoulder. And I will probably mount this right about in mid-range here. Now, out of the box, this does come with the B4 mount attached. It's really simple though. You got a few threaded screws here that you just pull out, put in your included EF mount adapter. If you're interested, they do sell optional PL mounts and F mount adapters that just fit right into there. I do have to say, looking at the size of the sensor, does look slightly smaller than my Blackmagic 6K, and definitely smaller than the Ursa Mini Pro G2 sensor, but it's not so much smaller that I'm really worried about the quality that I'm going to get. But again, we're going to look at that later. So let's go ahead and start to assemble this rig. All right, got the plate on. You know, theoretically that's going to sit right there. And I would really like it if this plate was bigger, but that'll work. Next, I'm going with the small rig, 8-inch 15mm rails. And these are going to go right in the front. This is a nice feature about this mounting plate, is that you can actually just put those rails straight into the front. You don't even need to buy any more hardware. This should work out really nicely. They do slide in pretty far back, which is really nice. So you know that it's going to be a really solid mount for your follow focus, your matte box, etc. Next thing, I'm going to go ahead and throw the top handle on. This is included, and it does have a nice little slot there for the optional viewfinder if you do want to buy that, which, if you're going to use this as a broadcast camera, definitely you want the viewfinder. I'm guessing anyone who shoots broadcast, you're going to want that viewfinder. The handle comes already with that nice slot to slide it right in there and plug it in right here. Okay, so now I have my handle on there, not tightened yet, but handle's on there. That'll be nice and tight once I do lock it down. But yeah, that feels solid already. Next, I'm going to throw my 24mm Cine lens on here, and it should be really a perfect perfect distance for everything. My matte box, my follow focus. I switched out my B4 mount for my EF mount because most people have EF glass. So let's go ahead and throw that on. Yeah, that's looking pretty sweet. I like that. Okay, so I'm using a 190 milliwatt hour V-mount battery. This should should just slide right in and work perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead. I don't actually even have a grip over here for this. You have to buy that separately. I'm gonna go ahead and power it up. And there we go. It's gonna have me set up my menu. We'll go into menu settings in just a minute. For my follow focus, I'm using the Film City HS2 follow focus. This is a great piece for the money. It's a really solid build. I've had no issues with this. Really happy. I did lose my pin that goes in here and tightens this to rack from point A to point B. So that's a bummer, but I rarely use that. I'll figure out what to do. Okay, so I threw my follow focus on, and it actually doesn't go down far enough for the gear to make enough contact with the lens gear. So I'm gonna have to just reverse this. Simple fix, but good to know. All right, cool. So I've reversed that. I'm gonna slide this back on my rail. There we go, that's perfect. That'll work really nicely on the tripod, yeah. And finally, my matte box. I'm using the Fotka DP500 matte box. It has two 4x4 filter slots. I've been using this, and it's also a carbon fiber build, which means it's really nice and lightweight. I've been using this for 2 years, and I really like this thing, especially for the money. All the links to the gear that I do use with this rig are listed below. Please check those out if you're interested. Let's go ahead and throw this on. So there we go. There is Ursa Mini Broadcast G2 Cine rig. That's pretty cool. I like how that looks. So let's dive into the menu. Of course, the first menu you're going to see is your record menu. Very similar to the rest of Blackmagic's cameras and how they set up their menus. This one has a few other options though, a few extra options of course. We got our Blackmagic RAW, ProRes, and then you have the option of recording direct to H.264 or H.265. You select in the sub menu there, and it looks like they both limit your recording resolution. So H.264 is just 1080, H.265 is just Ultra HD. Then we're going to go to the next menu to the right, and you will see your settings, video, extended video, and film, as well as your frame rates. You have off-speed recording option, which is very nice. Preferred media for recording. Now you can do SD, UH2, CFast, and an external drive, which is very nice to have a lot of different options. Then you do have a nice time-lapse feature, which I actually have yet to use on my 6K. And all of the optional frame intervals there, going between minutes, frames, and seconds. Detail sharpening on or off. Of course, drop frame alerts, yes or no if you want them. I hate them because I just want to keep recording. You can of course apply LUT baked into your video file. All right, let's move on to monitor. Now you have options to change what all of your different displays show. For example, do I want clean feed on my LCD? No, I do not. Do I want focus assist? Yes, please. So all of your options, and then same for your front and main rear SDI outputs. Choose what you like. I like to send clean feed out of there. Something to note, there is no HDMI out on this camera. So those are your display options. Moving to the right, you have your audio meters, your codec and resolution if you'd like, anamorphic squeeze built in, that is very nice as well. Status text on. Next menu to the right, zebra levels, colored lines. Focus assist type could be peaking or colored lines. You can select your colors here, and of course your level. I like to crank that up. Frame guide will do standard 16:9 if you want it. Safe guide area. This is really nice. You can really set up a nice interface for yourself on this thing. This is really sweet. LCD brightness, to be honest, anywhere from 50 to 100 is pretty much the same. go down, you drop down below, it does get significantly darker, but probably 60-70%-ish is fine. Yeah, and that is it for your display, your monitor options. Next we'll go to audio, and of course all the standard options. Camera left, you have your XLR, XLR mic. Camera mono, camera right, camera left, you have, that's right, there's no 3.5 in on this, but we're just going to go ahead and use the camera stereo. We'll do camera left and camera right. And of course you can boost your levels. Check, 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 check. Boost your levels. You can pad your XLRs. You can keep going. You know, you can set your preferences. Do you like shutter angle? Do you like shutter speed? Your 50 hertz, 60 hertz. Display ND filter as stop or fraction or number. I would probably do number just so I know. Going to the right, ATEM camera ID. This is a very nice feature because it is a broadcast camera. It will send and receive info via SDI, and if you're using an ATEM switcher, it will let your switcher know that this is camera 1 or up to 99. Wow. Reference source can be internal program or external. Now we're getting into our broadcast settings, our broadcast preferences. Next menu to the right, program audio source switcher. We do not want audio follow video, or I typically don't want audio follow video. You can set all of your function buttons here, preset or a toggle button. Oh, zoom rocker direction. So if you do buy the optional zoom rocker, zoom and focus rocker, here's all your settings for that. We do not have one, so we will not. Status LED. So if you are live, your tally light will come on. Bluetooth. That's nice for Bluetooth control. Calibrate motion sensor. That's nice. Calibrate image sensor. Calibrate screen. So eventually I will want to set these up. And then of course you can load your LUTs and your presets, and that's great. So that's a basic look at the new Blackmagic design Ursa Broadcast G2. This thing is pretty awesome. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. It'll really help me out. And stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to test this thing out, shooting some B-roll. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.